All right, everybody, welcome to 4PITTSFIELD. This is Season 1, Episode 1. I know many of you saw the pilot that we did. I went through all the comments and the messages that everyone sent to me, and I took everyone's advice into consideration, and we kind of fine-tuned this. So one of the things that everybody wanted to know was who were the other panelists. And that was my bad on that one. I never formally introduced everyone. So I'm just going to go right down the line here. I'm going to start with, on the end, Jim, who is a Pittsfield business owner 2 times over. Jim lives in Pittsfield with his wife, Lynn, has 2 daughters, one in college and another in the Pittsfield public school system. He's a trustee and council chair at the First United Methodist Church, a member of the Rotary Club, and is very active in Pittsfield local politics. Welcome, Jim Bronson.
Good evening.
Next, sitting right next to me here, is Ron Franklin. Ron is a Marine Corps veteran, an IT professional. He lives in Pittsfield with his wife and children, active with his church, and is currently enrolled in the local licensed pastor program through the First United Methodist Church. Let's welcome Ron Franklin. And right in the middle, last but far from least, is Beth. She's well known in the community for the last 13 years, performing with the country rock band Whiskey City. She is also a local business owner. Beth lives in Lenox with her 3 rescue dogs and encourages people to visit and help their local animal shelters. Welcome, Beth Maturbich, to the show.
Thank you.
So, we talked the first time and the last time that we got together, we talked heavily about the snowstorm that is still being discussed and will be discussed at the next city council meeting. And today, while we're filming this, another snowstorm hit the city. And I think this time it was completely different. I received, I don't know how many messages through the code red alert system, and I think the roads are pretty decent. But I'm going to go down the line here. We'll start with Beth. Beth, what's your opinion on the roads this time?
Well, it's funny. I actually still get those emergency messages because I actually moved to Lenox, but I once lived in Pittsfield just a couple years ago. So I too got a plethora of information, which was fantastic. And lo and behold, I actually lost power today, and I've actually been without power for about 4 to 5 hours. So I had to come into Pittsfield to a friend's house to get warm and get ready to come here. And it was a smooth ride. Main streets were all clear, and it was a really comfortable situation. I felt super safe, and I think they really kicked it up a notch this time.
So no problems.
Not that I can say. Some of the side roads a little bit, but hey, you got to start somewhere.
Right.
So
I would agree with that. Ron, how about you? How do you feel this time compared to last time on the road situation?
Things are much better. Like I said before, I think people might have been caught off guard a little bit, but this time they was a lot better prepared for what was coming, and it was a nice transition in and out of the city.
Okay, so. And did you also receive the code red alert?
Yes, I did. Well, I didn't, but my wife did, so,
So you were notified, everything ahead of time?
Yeah, I was definitely, the school notified me ahead of time. The city said, hey, stay off the roads if you don't have to. I had some other alerts from the state as well, saying if you didn't have to travel on the highways, stay away from, but I got it to go to work, so I had to travel. But even the highways weren't that bad. Everything was good, getting to there to and fro. So I'm used to it, but not been making that run for a long time, but it was definitely a smooth transition.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Jim, how about you?
Yeah, same idea, really. I mean, yes, I know when, say we get in trouble with a spouse or at work, you kind of over-communicate maybe sometimes, or with a friend. I just want to make sure you're okay. Is everything all right? So, yeah, my phone rang off the hook at the shop today and on my cell phone and everywhere. But, boy, okay, you did a great job, Pittsfield, but we know you could. Mistake last time, overcorrected this time. Well done. Thank you.
Okay, so everybody, I give an A+ on this one. Would you all agree on that?
totally
I agree with that one.
Okay. So another topic I wanted to touch on, because it's been in the news a lot lately, and Massachusetts now I saw is one of the states that might be jumping on board with this, is TikTok. And a lot of the states are looking to ban TikTok from, and many have, I think 9 or 13 already have, from being used for any municipal or government sites, anything like that, because it is, in my opinion, it is what a lot of people say it is. It's a data mining site for the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. So on this one, we'll start with Jim. Jim, what's your views on TikTok?
Well, thank you, Mike, and thanks for the great format. I know we had a lot of fun last time, and we're going to be very well behaved this time, aren't we? See, don't even say anything. We're following our feedback, and I can't make her laugh today. So no, you can't either, Ron. You can't either, Mike. So anyway, with that, sure. I at first kind of chuckled for a moment about that when I saw the states doing it. Part of me thought, well, what the heck's going on in some city somewhere or some state where they got to be watching TikTok anyway? They might have meant we can't post, hey, join us, to work for the Mississippi Department of Public Works or something. We don't want to be using it as a commercial, platform for anything the state or the cities are doing. But I think a lot of it was people at their desk looking at it. So my kids are on TikTok all the time. I've mentioned Jesus, probably not a great idea, but you just get that look of, Dad, keep quiet, when you're talking to teenagers in their early 20s, which are my kids. And I get that. And I think that we do need to find some platform that isn't controlled by communist China that does offer the same style of views. Because, on Facebook, for people with white hair like me, that's our platform typically, and they have connected to TikTok in part with the Reels. And, we all look at them, we all watch them, so they're kind of addicting, they're kind of cool. So somebody needs to come up with some way to do that isn't connected with communist China. So I'm all for it. I mean, get it off probably everybody's computer. It doesn't do Americans any good to use that platform.
Okay. And Beth, how about you on that?
Well, it's funny, you kind of took a lot of what I was going to say, but I also come from, no, it's okay. I also come from a little bit of a reverse situation, because I am oftentimes in the community thought of as like an online influencer with my Facebook page, which thankfully, well, thank you, by the way, for the white hair situation. Now I realize I'm on a platform of white-hairedness and,
You do that.
But I mean, as far as TikTok is concerned, I sort of just got into that situation, and I do get sucked into it sometimes. I mean, you really, really do. It's really an addictive sort of platform. I guess I probably haven't thought of it on the level of being like, a China communist sort of controlled situation, but I just don't believe that any government, municipality of any sort should be on any social media platform. It's a social media platform, and it's meant for, a sense of camaraderie and things of that nature and entertainment. I just don't think it belongs on any of them, but that's just my opinion.
Okay. And Ron, how about you?
Well,
are you a TikTok user?
I am.
Okay.
I enjoy a good chuckle from TikTok. It's a lot of good, funny stuff out there. However, I do agree that as far as city, state, and county, machines, being an IT person, I definitely think that stuff should be shouldn't be on in nobody's PC. Partly because of the data mining, and small crack. Next thing you know, if you're not if you haven't battened down the hatches too well, then you're at risk, and you're putting other people at risk. And I don't think it should be banned from people altogether. I think people like it all over the world. However, I do believe that you have to protect state, city, local machines, because we had the ransomware attacks that were really popular for people, those hackers that were just attacking people throughout the country. I had that experience. I had to go into work Sunday, and it really was a headache, because you have to, really, like I said, you have to really make sure all your stuff is secure. And when you're dealing with people's information, don't get me wrong, if they really want it, they can go and get it. However, because that's been proven time and time again through different cell companies, insurance companies. Who else got hit? Oh, hospitals got hit. So if they're trying to get your information, there's ways to get to it. However, I said all that to say that as far as this is concerned, we want to make sure that everyone is safe, and the ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So
you would say no to TikTok, or
I would say no to TikTok.
Okay,
I agree with that.
Because the big thing with it, another point with that too is that you go to China, they don't allow Facebook, they don't allow American influence, and you look at, since the rise of social media, look at the Arab Spring. 2010, 2011, I mean, governments were overthrown and people were freed because of social media.
Right.
And then, of course, in recent times, we've heard so much about election influence, manipulating the elections. the fact that it's owned by the Communist Party of China, and it really is, when they're talking data mining, they're saying even for the regular end user that if you have your banking apps on there, that they could access that. They could get into all sorts of different information. I know kids that I've talked to about it, they go, I don't care, I like it. They just don't care. But I would rather see an American-based company.
I agree.
That I agree with that as well.
I don't think kids really understand the consequences of these types of things too, you know.
Because there's long-term effects in everything. You know, like right now it's fun and it's cute, but 15 years from now,
that's right,
when you go to access something, you know, financially or your medical information or just your driver's license information. I mean, that stuff is all out there. So,
And I'd be curious how many Pittsfield municipal workers are on TikTok.
Do you know?
Right.
I don't.
You might. You know about everything else.
I don't use TikTok, so you know, I like the old people site, Facebook.
But you might though, like I said, you might like the way I do though, Mike, which is just on Facebook, and there are TikTok videos that appear there under Reels. So maybe that's not a
It
direct
is separate.
connection.
Yeah,
but-
you have to actually share it there, sort of independently
Fair enough.
from your phone.
Yeah,
Like
fair
download it
enough.
to your phone and then share it to Facebook. If the two are not connected at this time. Doesn't mean that they won't be at some point, but
So we would all agree then, TikTok, no.
agreed.
Agreed.
yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. Another big topic, which also will be being discussed at the next city council meeting, is North Street. And since the changes have been made to North Street, primarily with the traffic, the lanes, the bike lanes, the whole deal, Downtown Pittsfield Inc., I don't know if her title is president or director, so I think it's director, has submitted a petition to the council asking for them to consider diagonal parking and reducing the size of the bike lanes. I've never been a proponent since those changes on North Street. I don't like the bike lanes. I feel like, you know, North Street should be a destination. We have such a small downtown business district, and it should be a destination spot, not a travel through, not even for bicycles. So I'm not against bike lanes, and I'm not against them connecting to the Asheville-Wiltacook and all that, but I just felt like North Street, it took away. It made it more confusing. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know if I would be a big fan of diagonal parking either. I think in my lifetime we've tried that a couple times and it never worked. So my opinion on that would be no, but I think we definitely need some changes. Starting with you, Ron, what's your opinions on North Street? How do you feel about the way it is, and would you make changes?
Well, tough one. I only say that because I see all those scooters those kids riding around on, and that for me, that bike lane is a perfect way for them to get up and down. I do understand that you have business owners that would like to have easier access to their businesses. I do understand that principle, but I also believe in safety. And I know sometimes, you know, there'll be some kids that go off the grid and won't follow the rules of the road. However, but I think that makes it safe. And especially because now you got those electric bikes that's out now. People don't have to pedal. So more people are getting into the biking in this area, and I think that helps. Hopefully, it translates to commerce, money, spending, that type of stuff. But I don't know. It's like a catch-22, you know, because there were some changes. That I've been here for the changes from diagonal to where we're at right now. But like I said, I think that there's a need for a bike lane. I just don't know exactly how it all plays in the grand scheme of things, you know.
How would you rate North Street the way it is now since those changes?
Like I said, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's. I know, like I said, I'm not a business owner, so I don't know necessarily the numbers on how it affects businesses. But as far as driving through, seeing people when the weather's warm, you know, riding bikes and getting a part of that nature, because everybody sits in the house all the time. You know, you want to get out. You want to be able to get the fresh air, get some, you know, get your legs, blood pumping. You know, I'm a senior veteran now. You know, I got to. It takes a little longer to get the juices flowing. But like I said, I think that it's a place for it. But just I don't know. We got to come to some understanding somehow, some way.
Okay, Jim,
Well, I'll tell you, I got no problem with bike lanes either. And like you, Ron, I could use to lose a fat tire myself. I mean, no doubt about it. But I think we made a mistake with what we did, particularly the way we did it. And I know that the North Street goes through fits and starts every few years. But one of the things to think about, I thought about, like, say, in the summertime when there's a lot of tourists around, I'll skip North Street if I'm out and about because now it's constricted to one lane. There's all kinds of traffic. And I was thinking, man, if you're a tourist, you're like, what is going on with this street? You can't even get through it, so you probably skip it. And then when you do find a parking place, after you pay the darn meter so you can go into a store for 20 minutes or 10 minutes, then to try to back out when there's a gigantic line of traffic. I don't think we considered the way that constricted traffic. You got to either come in the bike lane and hope you don't back into somebody, and good Lord, if we do diagonals, we're going to take out somebody on a bike or a scooter, especially somebody coming the opposite way, because you're looking like this to back out, and there's a guy coming the wrong way, which I've seen happen too. So, I had a crazy proposal. We kind of said in jest, if you really want to make North Street really cool, you could do like Burlington does. Get rid of the darn thing. Like, really have a couple of cross streets and turn it into a greenway. Maybe people will be super mad at us if we did that. But if you try to make it really cool, you could make it really cool and do something like that. And we could have plenty of bike lanes. I wouldn't want to do anything to hurt our businesses, but that might turn it to a destination if there are a little bit of like parklets, real ones, not little things over by the bridge somewhere that look like, what are we going to do with that? I don't know, put a tree. Something that you could make it really cool and make it a really unique destination. But I don't know if there's any appetite for that or that it even makes sense. It's an idea I had once or twice when the whole bike lane thing started happening. But I don't know. I think they could be planned better. I don't know if you even go down to almost one of them with barriers down the middle, a two-way bike lane on one side of the street with Jersey barriers to protect everybody. There's things to do, and I think this isn't the right one yet.
Okay, and Beth.
Well, it's hard to follow up these two, honestly, because they really, really said it perfectly. But I guess the only thing I could possibly throw in is, I have two sort of thoughts on it, is, aesthetically, when they sort of put in all of the flower pots and the sort of, not cobblestone, whatever, the brick situation, where everything kind of jets out a little bit here and there. I don't know, maybe remove that, set back the sidewalks to be just normal sidewalks once again. It would open up a little bit more space. You can still add some aesthetics. I mean, you're getting rid of some of the things like some of the outdoor seating now that's been developed because of COVID and things of that nature. But I don't know, make a walkway. And then you'd open up more room so that we could still keep North Street maybe 2 lanes and still have a small bike path. And I don't know what the answer is, because I think if anybody, all the engineers that have worked on this for so many years, if they don't have the answer yet, then I'm certainly not going to come up with it right now. But I also think one small thing is that if we develop the shopping district of North Street in general, that maybe people would ignore the parking situation because they would truly think of it as a destination. They would figure it out. They'd go to more parking garages behind the situation, and sort of you'd want to go there so much that maybe the parking situation wouldn't be as much of a topic.
Okay. My view on it, though, was they jumped into some changes with some grants that were available, and then kind of took that approach of, we'll figure it out as we go along. There was 2 different changes already. The scooters, all that, I know people that follow me and one of the other shows I do on here know I'm not a big fan of Bird scooters. And they're a failing company. They were the first unicorn company on the market, which means they're the first company that hit $1 billion value that fast. And their stock right now today closed out at 25 cents a share. They're barely holding on in existence. It's a crazy business model. And I never felt like our demographics in this community supported that. The other big problem I had with it, along with the bike lanes, is if you're not going to enforce these lanes being used and you still see 80% of the traffic on the sidewalks, what's the point? The sidewalks now become more dangerous because you have more scooters on them and bicycles, and like Ron said, that I have an e-bike. They go pretty fast. Mine does 28 miles an hour. You hit somebody on one of those, it's going to do some damage. Yeah. So I thought the enforcement needed to be there. The diagonal parking and all that, again, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I don't think what we have is the correct answer.
Great.
So I guess to close this topic out, on a scale of A, giving it an A being the best, F being the worst, I'm going to give it a D.
I agree.
Ron?
Really? So low?
Yes.
I guess I'm going to give it a B minus, man.
Okay.
He's right to the bottom. That's a nice.
You're always the voice of positivity.
But North Street is a nice street. I really like. I walk North Street because I try to get this down. You know, I got this 2-pack sitting on the snack pack, just trying to work it out. You know, so I mean, I really do enjoy North Street. So I don't know, man. A D?
I'm going to give it a D.
Wow. I'm sticking with my. Matter of fact, B plus. I gotta give it a B plus. Oh
You're
no.
also saying that you love North Street and you like to walk and
Right,
everything else.
and I meet people there, and I do purchase there. And I mean, don't get me wrong. And I do understand. There's no
Easy answer.
Yeah, there's no easy way to fix it. But wow, the D. Wow,
D, yeah.
This is a good tough
I feel like it could be so much better.
I agree.
Yeah, it could be.
But Ron is available for birthday parties and all of your positivity that you may need at any time.
So, Bev, what would you give it? As a
I
grade?
agree on the D situation.
Oh,
And again, I love North Street. I'm saying the parking,
Chilly
the
over
way
here.
that it's constructed right now is not conducive to, being the best that it can be.
And
I have it as a C. I mean,
All right.
it really does look beautiful if you go down it when it's quiet. We go out there. My friend and I go out about 4:30 in the morning on July 4th to set up chairs, and it's a very beautiful street when there's nobody there.
Now you gotta hit it where
well.
you gotta hit it where
But then when we try to use
What about
it,
the Thursdays?
but then when we tried,
Yes.
they
Yes.
moved it.
Yes.
It's over at
And
the
that's so
Common
sad.
now.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, they
because
moved
of
it.
the bike lanes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They
I
moved it to the common.
I missed that.
I know
Yeah.
I know they're trying. I mean, we can't be. I've never faulted anybody for trying something. I mean, the city's trying. They're trying really
Yes.
hard to make North Street a better place.
Right.
And sometimes you say, okay, we were pretty close, but maybe we can augment it some. I mean, no one's mad at you for trying.
Right.
I did put a joke on one of your sites once, though, when there was something else the city was doing. I think I wrote a joke. A few people liked it, maybe a lot of people. Like, well, look, if there's a grant out there to paint City Hall in purple and white polka dots, doesn't mean you do it just because you have a grant. I mean, sometimes I think we've
Right.
got to take a little bit of time and say, okay, that's wonderful that this might be quote unquote free, but does this really benefit us?
I agree.
And having some of those massive lanes to cut down the street, I mean, it does funnel a lot of people over to First Street to Route 7, but maybe you missed, hey, look, they've got to this or they've got to that. You don't even know what we have if you bypass it because it's too long to go through.
Which I always do,
Right.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd
So-
like to not do that in the
Yeah.
future.
2 Ds, a B plus,
Yes.
and a C.
Are you
But
gonna
maybe
say-
we could say there's a B plus for effort for trying new things and
We
to
can
keep a
say that
positive
too. And
string on it
one
in some
final
way.
note, though, too. That was kind of that, if you don't mind, Mr. Franklin, that was a bit of a, you were at B minus, and you
Nah, they kinda can bring it up.
Yeah, but that was like a begrudging. Well, fine, then I'm gonna.
It wasn't really more of a begrudging. It was more like on
He's
on
trying to
average.
bring the average up.
Yeah, you gotta because we still have you still have a young community here. You want them to be able to walk and
I'm just saying you
embrace that.
changed your grade because he was at a D. That's
I'm
all
not-
you did.
no,
You were at a
I'm
B
not-
minus.
I'm not
That's
just
what you really
changing
thought.
because of that, but I also wanted to change because I actually, like I said, I genuinely like North Street, and the Y is back open. It is beautiful.
I
Love
absolutely-
that,
You know
but
what
where
I'm
do
saying?
you park?
You park on the street.
I love it.
There.
Or the garage, or walk
That's
over.
the whole point.
I mean, I understand
It is
that, but
beautiful.
yeah, I mean, there's that parking garage on the
Yep.
backside, and there's a lot of parking area over there. And exercise is good for the body.
I absolutely
Yeah.
love North Street.
I
though.
do too.
But that's my point. I think, if we were to give them a grade on intentions, sure, I'd give them an A.
Sure.
But like the old saying goes, the road to hell could be paved with good intentions. It's.
Yeah.
I think the proper
Are we really
planning.
paving hell though? I think there's already brimstone there, is it?
I think that the proper planning has to be put in place, and in this case, they got a grant for it. They did a rush job. Everyone went, what the hell? And they had a lot of problems. So then they changed it again, and now you have the business owners asking for another change. So I just feel like the proper planning wasn't there. It was a rush to get it done.
Okay.
Agreed.
And
But with the grant though,
There's an expiration date.
Right, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
there
And you-
was
and
when
you
that
can
initial.
Yes.
you get paralysis from analysis, and you don't do anything, and then
You should have-
everything stays the same. So for me, true compromise is I don't get everything I want, you don't get everything you want, but we all come together and get something. And so, what's the something that everybody wants? You have to find that out.
Well, I would like to see the data that shows how much bicycle traffic travels North Street.
Okay.
Good point.
When I did my own little study on it, I'm telling you, it was as much as 80 to 90% of the bicycle traffic and scooters were still being used on the sidewalk, so there was zero enforcement. I thought that was a problem.
Okay.
And when you're giving half the road over to the bicycles and they're not using it, and then again, the confusion, because it's still a travel lane legally and technically. So when people are going to make right turns, they're going in that bicycle lane.
Correct.
Delivery vehicles, because it's an older street, the Pittsfield was incorporated before the United States existed. So it's an older community, definitely. And you have delivery vehicles that have nowhere to go. We're not set up like newer cities where they have loading docks in the back. And so they're double parking, and they're in the bike lane. So now it's a mess,
It's a mess,
in my opinion. I think North Street overall looks really good. I think those islands and trees and all that is kind of, like Jim said, when no one's there, it's beautiful. But the point is you need people there.
Yeah, let's make it usable.
When no one's there, the place that I would call the most beautiful when no one's there is a cemetery.
Well,
That's
I'm gonna miss that train.
But anyway, I think it's fair though. I mean, I like your positive outlook at it. So, I'm going to stick with D, but B plus.
I got you.
That's what we did, though. We brought on a panelist of people. We had to have one positive guy.
That's me.
That's you.
So the last topic then is, and this isn't any specific topic, but if you could change one thing to improve Pittsfield, or not even change, but just bring one idea that you have to Pittsfield to improve the community, what would that be? And we'll start with Beth on this one.
Yeah, I don't want to hear your positivity first. You can, no. Honestly, I'm going to stick with kind of what I said before, where if you brought the right kind of thing to North Street or to Pittsfield, would people be so apt to constantly think about the negativity in the parking? So I always believed before the mall came along that, Gap and Banana Republic and all of these stores that it should have gone on North Street. Make it like a Newport, Rhode Island or a Manchester, Vermont sort of outlet situation where it's just fun to walk around and you don't care where you park because there's just such an invitation to be there. And I believe that we should be building up the retail district 100%. I think people are getting back into that too. I think COVID taught us that it's not about all, once we had to go all online, people really wanted to get out and really wanted to shop again and really want to support more localized situations again.
So yours would be focus downtown and bring back retail
some really great retail,
downtown,
which will help all the local stores that have made it thus far. The more customers obviously come into one thing, come to the other. And I just believe in let's get shopping again.
Okay. And Mr. Bronson?
Thank you, Mike, and thanks for the show as always. This kind of dovetails nice with Beth's, I think. A thing I'd love to do for our beautiful city, and I say that in my radio commercials about beautiful Pittsfield, but because it is beautiful, and I love our city. And if you guys could see the rest of Mike's studio, there's pictures of our beautiful city all throughout here. It is a beautiful place to be. Our issue is we are a small city, and cities have problems, like any city anywhere. I would love it if we could find a way, because the old rising of water raises all boats theory, if we could really improve our security situation by employing more police, paying them all what we should be paying them, and this is nothing to slight anyone else who works for our government agencies. You all probably deserve pay raises and all work really hard. But if you're going to improve a community, you have to feel safe everywhere. And we have a great theater district. Unfortunately, there's never police walking the beat out there because we don't do that anymore. It's not the cops' fault. They're busy doing something else. I think we should have more police on the streets. They should be really super well funded. And we should be able to walk out of your studio tonight, Mike, and see cops around. See police, not just flying around as they have to in their cars. See cops on the street. Every once in a while, there's cops on the bike. Let's see our police everywhere. Not a police state, of course, but a really safe place. So when you come here, especially in our tourist season, and you want to go to any of our theaters, whether the movie theater or performing arts or any of a restaurant, whatever, imagine as we do improve North Street, make it a super safe place to be. When you leave the Y, it is beautiful. I was in there the other day for a nice tour. It's awesome. Let's improve our security situation, and I think that improves everything in our beautiful city.
That's a great point.
Okay.
What a great point.
Ron?
Well, if I could change one thing, I'd change that D. No. Honestly,
Pretty good.
you like that? I think what Jim touched on is important. People want to feel safe. You want to feel like you can walk and not be accosted by people and things of that nature. However, where are we going to get the funding? That's the problem. Everybody's hurting for it. I mean, it's not just our city. It's every city across the country. I mean, Officer Friendly no longer exists. When I was a kid, he'd come to school, he'd talk to the kids, that whole thing. Even going into the 80s, you had McGruff the crime dog, and
Right.
They would come in.
We have Winston in Pittsfield. He's our police dog. We have a police doggy here.
But I think part of that comes in, and I think what the city is doing a good job with, in my opinion, obviously, they have different programs. My son used to be involved. I think it's called the, it can't escape me now, but it's for the youth to come in and they participate in learning what police officers do. I think if you promote that a little bit more, starting at the lower, like middle school, have them come in, and I think that's where they might start.
The junior
already,
officer program. I think
I forgot the name of it though, but it's a specific name. My son was involved in it for a long time.
And that
But,
also
yeah.
gives the kids a sense of purpose.
Correct.
Too, which
Right.
is really
Right.
needed right now.
Because at the end of the day, if you feel like you're a part of something and you're that little bit of ownership, you feel like that, then you'll invest more of your time, more of your energy into doing the Explorers program. That's what it's called.
Explorers,
So public safety is what you would improve?
Not that it's bad now, obviously, but I would definitely try to get more active police officers out, on the streets, knowing the neighborhoods that they, patrol, and not just looking to solve a problem immediately, but understand what's going on. And part of that is too that the community has to be a part of that as well. It's not just all on the police department, because you got a lot of good police officers that are doing their jobs every day, all day, but then you have some people in the community that may not necessarily want to comply with or assist so much in helping the community and uplifting the community, that those of that nature. But for the most part, I think that's pretty much what we need on a lot of these cities. But again, it comes back to resources, where we're going to get it from.
All right, so Beth, you're downtown businesses, retail.
Yes.
Jem, public safety.
Public safety.
Ron, public safety.
But can I just say one last thing? I just want to say if there's one other thing that I could change, it would be the amount of negativity that people put out about the city as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that doesn't help
That's fair.
with change.
Right.
It just creates more angst.
Right.
So I think I would create, a
People
little bit
can't
more
wait to
positivity.
leave when there's a problem,
Right,
Yeah,
right.
nothing wrong with loving our beautiful city.
That's right.
No.
Nothing at
There's
all.
so much great here as well.
I think for me, it comes to local government. I think that one of the biggest jobs of our local government is to inspire, to encourage public, getting involved, community, bringing people together. And that's where you need more transparency. You need them out there. You need a friendly, inviting atmosphere. And I'm not going to say, that all our politicians are not, but I think we can definitely, there's a lot of room to improve on that. And I think it shows when it comes time to vote. You take the last municipal elections in Pittsfield, and voter turnout was 24% of our registered voters. So if you break that down to the population, it's probably 3-4%. So I find that falls on the shoulders of the people that are in office to push civics and to make it inviting, why you should be part of community, to make it friendly, that's the biggest, I think that's the biggest responsibility of local government. And I hate to say we fail in that category, but we do. Most people I talk to about running for public office, the number one answer I hear is always, I could never put myself and my family through that, because it has turned into this vicious, character assassination style machine, and more of a quest for power than it is to improve community. So if I could change anything in Pittsfield, it would be, getting everyone involved you know, a community has the value of the people in it. And I think the more people involved, if you get out there, to start, just take 20 minutes out of your year, every 2 years, to go vote. That's the number one thing. And then the second thing, find one thing to volunteer for, whether it be Meals on Wheels, or like you guys do with the church, or Beth with organizations for animals. Find one thing to volunteer for, and ask yourself, to the people who do propagate a lot of negativity, they need to ask themselves, what is it I do? How much time do I give back? Because you only get out of something what you put into it. And I think that's the biggest thing. For me, it would be building community spirit and pushing civics in our school and investing in education, because knowledge is power. And I think that is where you start.
And I think your candidacy needs to start soon as well. It's time, Mike.
Well, I more than appreciate you guys doing this. The pilot show we did was really successful. It's always a pleasure, and the more we're getting to know each other, I explained to a lot of my audience, last time I just met Ron and Beth 20 minutes before we started filming, and both of them, when they came into the studio, said, "What are we doing?" And there's cameras involved. So
Jim suckered us in again.
Yeah, the fight was fixed.
it's not easy to put yourself out there publicly. So
But that goes back to what you were just saying. Politics is a real hard environment, especially nowadays, and not just because, if it was just so, like you said, the civility of it all has to be there. Like I said, true compromise. I don't get what I want, you don't get what you want, but we get something because we're coming together for the common good. There's no big I's and little U's. It has to become more some we not me mentality. And I know that sounds cliche-ish and I hate it, but that's the only thing I come up with at the moment. But and that comes from, like you said, the people that gets involved. Like they genuinely, there are people that genuinely care, but unfortunately, if I'm like the Care Bear and you're like hammering the Care Bear,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? That's not going to work. You know what I'm saying?
people can demand, though, that it changes. And the only way to do that is to get up, speak up, and not just speak up. Actions speak louder than words. Get involved.
This is true.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that message. I love that message.
Thank you all again. This was a lot of fun. This will be a regular show now, so this is episode 1, season 1. I hope everyone enjoyed it. There's really no time on these. Some of them might be a half hour, some might be 50 minutes. So yeah. And again, a huge thank you to my good friend Lee Kirchner, who's behind the cameras, Jim Bronson,
Woo-hoo!
Beth Maturovich,
Woo-hoo!
and Ron Franklin. That's it for now, and we'll catch y'all next week.